Hi everyone and welcome to this edition of KWC. It's Kopi with Chris time, and you know what's been happening this week. This week is the week that Singapore is going to go to the polls. It's a week that's filled with excitement, anticipation, and lots of drama so far. And as you know, KWC is a show that, my show is not a political kind of thing. I'm not into that kind of thing. I'm into people. I'm not into politics. But then again, how can we go by this week when Kopi with Chris don't have anything to do with the general elections? That just cannot be. So today, I have two gentlemen who are my Kopi kakis for this episode, and they are from the Progress Singapore Party, and they are also candidates. They are vying to represent the respective constituencies, and they're from the Nee Soon GRC as well as the Tanjong Pagar GRC. And from the Nee Soon GRC, we have Brad Bowyer on my left.
Hello,
say hi,
sir.
Brad.
Hello, everybody.
And on my right, from the also representing the PSP in the GRC for the GRC in Tanjong Pagar, and that's Mr. Harish Pillay. Say hi, Harish.
Hello.
Okay, so now, as I said, and let me reiterate, I am not bloody interested in politics, okay? I'm interested in people. And we did try to call the other parties. We did.
Okay, yeah.
But then again,
Right.
everyone's busy.
So are we.
Yeah, I know. Thanks, guys, for spending the time, really making the time to be here.
I needed an excuse to be in the aircon for an hour, so that's why I said yes.
So this is a good respite.
Yeah, it's good respite as well. There's good makan downstairs. So have for a makan stop and come here.
It's
right?
damn hot out there.
It is damn hot today. Today has been hot. As a matter of fact, I think ever since the whole announcement for the GE, came about, the weather just seemed to have made a turn.
It's become a slightly hotter. I mean, it could reflect the sentiments on the
How
ground.
do you guys do it, man? How do you guys do it? And you're on the street basically every day?
Yeah, from about 7 in the morning until about 10 o'clock at night when people kick us out if we make noise
Holy
around their house.
crap.
Well,
7 in the morning to 10 at night.
We let them sleep. They need to sleep.
You better let them sleep, otherwise you're going to have a lot of very unhappy people.
The good thing though is this is our chance to flatten the COVID curves.
Oh,
So I've lost
yeah.
about a kilo already, and I'm only 5 days in. Or 6
So
days in.
when you guys walk the ground, you got to make preparations, right? What do you guys do?
We've got a lot of scheduling for all the stuff we're doing, but at the end of the day, it's like there's a block of blocks today. We do coffee shops, we do markets, and then in between, we just like start at the top of the block and go forwards and backwards and forwards and backwards all the way down. Next block, forwards and backwards and forwards.
Yeah. It's actually once you get a rhythm to it, there's a certain sequence of how you want to do it, and when you have your helpers with you, the rest of the party members with you, it's good fun.
But it's so funny because I noticed something about you guys. There's nothing on your wrist. There's no wristwatches.
No.
Right? So you know what you should be doing?
Yeah.
Since you're doing all this walk around and walkabouts, go and get yourself some Fitbits or something, put it in your wrist,
I
and
have
you,
it on my phone.
or turn the thing on your phone.
I
where
have
you,
them on my phone.
I wouldn't dare do it. I've probably done my 10,000 steps before 10 o'clock in the morning. So.
That's
Come on, Brad. There is no way in hell that both of you don't cross 10,000 steps a day.
Yeah, of course.
You're gonna way cross that. I'm pretty sure, right?
I found a new way to walk downstairs as well. Because you just need to make sure you land your whole feet flat. You don't want to have any part of your toes that is pointing out because you've got a lot of steps to clear.
Oh dear
So
Lord.
you should keep a certain pace.
That's the reason why guys like me would prefer to just stay in the background and forget it, screw the politics. I'm not going to be involved in this shit because it's just way too much work, man.
All right.
But let me ask you something. Since you're doing all these walkabouts, have there been tough moments where any hostility you may have faced from people or from any?
Yeah,
Are we allowed to speak about it? Oh, okay.
I think it's a given.
Okay.
It's a given because there will always be opinions on either side. And,
Sure.
That's how life is all about. But yeah, hostility in my case, that was not hostile in any sense. It's just a very obvious rejection of, I don't want to talk to you. That's it. Without even necessarily saying it.
Okay.
There was a lady whom I was away from her, 2 tables away at a hawker center, and all she did was to put her arms across like that.
What the hell does that mean?
Please don't talk to me. And
She's not like an ex-woman or something.
It could be. I mean, I could have done a Superman there.
She didn't do the Van Helsing thing, did she?
No.
I am from the
No. So when you say okay, not hostile, but basically rejection.
It's fine.
Okay,
I actually had open hostility as well, but anyway.
Well, that's a
No,
different.
I had one guy. He stood like about this far from my nose, looking in my face, just shouting the name of another party at me until one of the other group in the entourage realised what he was doing and moved him away. I was just thinking, what's gone wrong? You know, what's gone wrong in his life that he can't think about, you know, what's civil and what is.
But you know,
whatever.
it seems to me, man, that politicians actually, you're in the world of the salesman.
Sort of, yeah.
You are a salesman. You are a comfort giver. You have to listen to stories. You need to find empathy. You need to find solutions at the end of the day.
Okay.
It's a mixture of many things. You know.
Okay.
It's a shame we're not women, really, because we need to do multitasking at such a high level.
Okay. But then again, you know, I've started the show going backwards. I should start from the beginning.
Okay.
All right.
Can you tell us? Because, like I said earlier, I really don't give a shit about politics. Yeah, I'm sorry, but to me, I live my life in the background. I just discern for myself, you know, and then it doesn't mean that just because you guys are here that I'm supportive of your party, right? And or for any party for that matter.
Right, I'll see you later.
I'll make my mate. Come on,
I know.
we're just having bloody coffee, right? But the thing is that I think it's I'd like to get to know who are the people that's having coffee with me.
Yeah.
Okay, I got myself a white dude in my left.
Am I? I'm not looking
I
at the
didn't know,
mirror.
I thought
The last
I didn't
time I
realise.
checked with my own eyes, like right now, this very second, you're white, dude. Okay.
I thought
I'll give my wife a call.
I thought you're Singaporean, yeah.
Wait, so are you Singaporean?
Well, just Singaporean.
How often did you have to rehearse that?
It's about one of the only 5 or 6 phrases I can do.
But okay. Seriously, I'm curious. You're a white guy,
Yeah,
and you are Singaporean,
I am indeed.
and you are now running for these elections for a party.
Yeah.
And can you tell everyone how the heck did this happen?
I'm still trying to work it out.
Where were you from originally?
Okay, so I was born in the UK,
Right.
and I come from the East End of London. So also not a political environment, obviously. I mean, it's if there's a downtrodden sort of pushed aside part of the UK, that's the East End of London sort of thing.
Okay.
You know, we're I guess the Red Hill of the UK, or the Bronx of the UK, or whatever they want to call it. or
Is this
whatever.
where Slough is?
No. We're down by the Docklands. You know,
Okay.
that was a place heavily bombed during the war and stuff like that.
Okay,
you know,
okay,
and,
right.
We, my mum and Nan used to spend a lot of time in the garden in a bomb shelter at that time back then. You know,
During the Blitz, huh?
yeah. So I come from the East End of London. I mean, I came over here in the 80s. Really got to know the place. Back then, I mean, I observed a lot of stuff, but I mean, I come from media and entertainment. I've never had an interest in politics until around 2011, when there was a lot of stuff going on. And actually, when I got involved, it was with a different party.
We forgive you for that.
For about 5 years, I wore a different
Okay.
colour and
You're
did different
you're
things.
forgiven, you know, Brad.
So you wore a different color.
Yes.
Basically,
yes.
are you saying one singular color?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
all right.
Yeah, if you take my shirt and just remove the red, and I think you've got a better idea of what colour I was in. I mean, I saw there were issues, and I thought I could help out. My dad had always taught us, you know, if you feel like you can do something, you kind of have a responsibility to it.
Step up
Especially
to it.
and I had a young son at the time. I'm worried about what his future's going to be and all this kind of stuff. And that's what sort of pulled me into it. But I didn't actually consciously think about being white at the time. It was more a case of I'm just a Singaporean who wants to get involved. It's later everyone said, "Oh, Angmo, what are you doing?" I'm like, I don't know actually what I'm doing. I'm just here doing my thing, you know.
Okay, so how long have you been a Singaporean?
I actually became a Singaporean in 2011, specifically so I could get involved. Before that, I was a PR. So, and the way PR works, I mean, it wasn't much different. I mean, my wife's Singaporean, my son's Singaporean, and with me being a PR, I could have the same life as anyone else.
So you're saying that you got involved in politics, and it's because you saw things that were wrong,
Yeah.
and then you got involved,
Yeah.
right? Okay, and then you are aware, right, that you're an Ang Mo doing this. No. I know. I heard you doing
Wylo
this
is another one.
thankless job, isn't it?
Yeah.
Especially for someone who, I can't say that now, I can just put it this way, who was a foreigner,
Yes.
right? Why the hell do you want to do it?
When you spend enough time in a place, I mean, especially when all the important things in your life are here. I mean, my wife, 26 years together, my son, my friends. I mean, I came here when I was 17. So, I mean, when you're a kid, it doesn't matter what country you're in. I mean, you're just a kid playing and whatever.
So you
else.
feel this country has become yours?
Pretty much, yeah. And then, I just, you get called to do something. It's not like you consciously do it and make a decision. At some point you fall in it. And in fact, even now, like being even a candidate, that was never ever anything. I mean, if someone hadn't asked me to make a speech that went viral and then someone else hadn't asked me to do this or do that, that wouldn't have been my choice. It's just, it's somehow someone's pushing me somewhere and I'm like, get away, leave me alone. But this is where I've ended up, front and center with a spotlight on me, and I'm like, okay, I better step up now then.
I've always wanted to ask you that question. This is the first time we've met, and I've read about you, of course. So I've always been curious, man. See, what's this white guy doing in our politics? Seriously, I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm not the only joker who thinks this way.
To be fair to him, he's not the first one.
Yeah.
Honest.
Really?
E.W. Barker.
He's not white.
Okay.
He's Eurasian like me. Hello.
Okay.
Come on.
Okay.
There are Caucasian families in Singapore.
there
Though.
are.
I don't know if they were involved in politics. Or
Yeah,
not, that's all.
our very first chief minister.
David Marshall is Eurasian too.
Well, to me, it's that category of group.
I mean,
Okay.
if you wanted to start talking about the blend, then I'm more of a mongrel, because as far as I can, my brother did a school
He
project
just
once.
called himself a mongrel. I wasn't even about to go there. Man.
It's okay.
And you call yourself a freaking mongrel. Can you stop that? I mean, dude,
No,
come
but
on.
if you want to look at what your mixes are, right? My brother did a school project and he found, apart from like the English and Welsh and Scottish and all that mix, there was some Jewish in there was some Russian in there,
yeah.
there was even some
Now we
sort
know the
of
connection.
whatever.
He calls that mongrel.
It's a real mixture of all
I'm
sorts,
telling you,
you know?
no, Brad, let me tell you, that is the Angmo. You can have Scottish and Irish and Polish and Russian all mixed into one. And you guys, I don't know from where you come from before, from the UK, right? Oh, mongrel. No, Angmo. As far as we're concerned, you're Angmo. You're like, what Harish just said? David Marshall? Dude, that guy looks like an Angmo, but that guy's a Grago, okay? He's
He could have
Eurasian.
been president then, right? He looks
I can
enough
say
like the place.
Grago. I can say Grago because I am one. I'm a Grago.
Yeah.
You know? But dude, I am not white. Please, look, I ain't no white guy. Yeah? Okay, but thanks, man, for being so candid.
No worries.
Really. I mean, I'm so full of shit sometimes, but
We know, we can smell it.
no. Thanks. But this guy just ate the cake. He ate my damn cake because he's more full of shit than me.
Goes with the territory.
Can you
of the
imagine?
politician, I
I've got
think.
two guys from a political party and I'm actually talking shit with these guys, you know? That's why it's not about politics today, okay? Bollocks, man. There's no way it's about politics.
It's a kopitiam talk. It's kopitiam talk.
Exactly.
It's what it is.
Yeah, exactly. Just a bunch of dudes, yeah? But Harish, I've heard about you.
Really.
Yeah.
All lies,
I
all
mean,
lies.
I mean, wait. That's what I want to find out. You know what? Because even before I heard about you, I actually had quite a surprise when I took a look. Okay, nomination day, and I went, hey, hang on a second, that guy looks familiar because we've never met.
Okay.
But
That's true. I've never met.
But because of what you were doing,
Okay.
what you are doing,
Okay.
and the company that you,
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about that soon.
Sure.
I saw the video with you and all that, and
Yeah.
then I recognized you. Then I checked the name out. And I said, hang on a minute. Now this guy is from this company called Red Hat,
Yes, it is.
right? And he's a guy that's quite legendary for the annual RHTC,
Yeah. That's
right?
true.
Which is the Red Hat Technology Conference.
Tech Exchange.
Exchange, I beg your pardon, yes. So I'm like, wow. I said, well, hang on, he's now running for this party. But anyway, like I said, I'm not here to talk about politics.
Yeah.
I just want to ask you, man. You basically started or founded Red Hat.
I didn't found it.
Okay.
I helped start the Singapore office.
Okay.
Because I had my own startups before, and so they wanted to, Red Hat wanted to expand into Southeast Asia, and
Right.
we talked about it one way or the other. I thought of trying to sell my company to Red Hat, but Red Hat at that point just bought a company in India, so it was a bit too soon to buy another one.
Right.
So they said, why don't you join us, and and you can start the whole thing out. So yeah, fine, I'll do it. So 17 years later, I'm still doing that, right? So it's been 17 years.
So because whenever your name comes up, everyone says that you are Red Hat. You are the guy. I mean, it's synonymous. Synonymous with you.
It is one of those things that I recognize that I cannot tear myself away from it. It's not only because it's a business in that sense, but it's the bigger philosophy. What is it that you're trying to do? We want to change the world. We want to make the world a better place with technology. That's right. That's all we want to do. Yes, we want to make money along the way, able to pay salaries and stuff like that, but we still want to change the world.
But one of the interesting things I heard about that business, your business, is that it's more bottom-up management.
Very much. Well, I wouldn't say it's bottom-up.
Not top-down. Okay, it's not top-down.
It's not top-down. That's
Okay.
right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You are empowered to do the things that you need to do, and you are answerable for what you do. And we move the needle forward together. Let's figure out. We need to get to this one. How shall we get there? What are the things we need to do? What are the 10,000 things we need to do to get that done? There's no one formula. There's no one answer, because there is no one formula. There is no one answer.
Right.
There never is. So we need to figure out, okay, let's collaborate. Yeah, we may sharpen the knife in a different way, sharpen the knife the other way, and see which one works.
Okay.
Because if it's only one formula, sorry, buddy, it's not going to work. It's going
So
to
you're a person who thrives on diverse ideas. Huh?
diversity, because that's what I found the benefit from it myself when I was in graduate school, and that was 30 years ago.
Well, really, I thought it must maybe 15, but never mind.
Okay.
It's the makeup.
It's the makeup.
He's buying me more coffee, man.
Put a bit of whiskey in that coffee.
Yeah, I think that'd be good. That'd be good. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, no, but that's what I learned 30 years ago when I was in graduate school.
Right.
This was before the internet as we know today.
Right.
It was called ARPANET.
What's that?
ARPA, ARPA.
Shucks, really?
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
The
Is it
predecessor
run
to
by
the
SEALs
internet.
like
Call me a dingbat, man, because I'm a noob when it comes to this shit.
Yeah, so it's
okay.
an Advanced Research Projects Agency. It's a U.S. Department of Defense thing.
Well, yeah, it sounds damn CIA to
Yeah,
me.
it is. It's YMCA too. Yeah, so no, but they started that. So when I was in school, it's like, what on earth is this ARPANET, and why am I able to share stuff with people?
You're right.
I don't know who this person. All I see is an email address, but he's telling me do this, do that. My professor has no idea what I'm doing. Great. So I learn from the others, and I'm teaching them again. And it's like, wow, this is a fantastic way of doing things. We should be doing this thing everywhere. And so and then eventually now the internet is every nook and corner.
Of course.
Yeah, your podcast is successful only because of the internet.
Of course. Thankfully. Thankfully, it's not called the ARPA now. You know? Jeez.
Kopi with ARPA.
Yeah. Kopi with ARPA. Jeez. Come on. Okay. So, you IBM. IBM acquired Red Hat.
They paid $34 billion
Holy shit.
to buy 14,000 people
Wow.
and the culture.
Wow.
There's nothing else to buy because the software is all open for anybody to do whatever you want with it. The technology is open to anybody to do what you.
Right.
They don't have to pay. They're not paying for that. They're paying for the people
Yeah.
around the world
Right.
and how we collaborate, how we do things.
Wow.
So IBM, we keep them at an arm's length, as it were.
So really, they really just bought the culture.
The culture, because it's hard. This culture, how the heck did we do what we do, and how do we do what we do? We tell people this is how we do, but it's not easy. I can bet you it's not easy to do. You have to believe in this is the right way to collaborate. I'm happy to share things with you. Even if you don't share it back with me, that's okay. I'm sharing stuff with you. I teach you how to do this. Get better at whatever it is, doesn't matter. But eventually you find people say, wow, this makes a lot of sense.
What was your role, Harish?
I do many things lah. Right now. No, I mean I'm in a very happy place in that sense that I can essentially pick the areas that I want to focus on because it's not the business that is generating the cash for sustaining the organization. This is going before that,
Right.
because you need to cultivate the open source community around the world, because they are the ones creating whatever that they're creating, and then we can take all that and make it into a product that my paying customers want to pay for.
But the journey that you took with Red Hat,
Yeah.
I mean, primarily getting to that level where it was bought over for $30+ billion from IBM. What was that role that you played that was integral to that?
It's
happening?
not a one-man show. It's a collaborative effort across the board. Everybody, we pull in all that needs to be done. It's not a single person. Oh, this is critical.
Sure.
No, it's never that. So
Sure.
each of us, we put our shoulders to the yoke and move it forward and say, yeah. And when someone doesn't do it, okay, let's help you to make it happen. And what is the challenge? So we check each other. Are you okay? Is that fine? Is that fine going? Is that like, for example, the fact that we had to now all be working from home.
Yeah.
40% of my colleagues around the world work from home by default.
Right.
It's always been the case.
Okay.
Has always been the case.
Yeah, even before COVID.
Yeah, it was. Because that's how we do it. Because it's, it doesn't mean that you go to the office, you are productive. Sometimes your work stops in the office.
You want to hire me?
I've
man?
been in some of those companies.
Exactly. So now when we went 100%.
So what difference does it make anyway? Does it, right? Yeah, what difference does it make? So thanks very much for that, Harish. I could turn my attention to the white boy now.
All right.
He's still looking around. He's still looking around for the. He's still looking around for the
white boy is.
So let me just ask you something, Brad.
Yeah.
You said before that that your love for Singapore is what motivated you to get into politics. You also just told me that just now, right? Because of your love for Singapore, during your walkabouts, do you think Singapore loves you back?
Some of it does, yeah. I mean, it's like anywhere. I mean, even when I was my first time here in the 80s and I was at the local junior college.
Oh, you were?
Yeah, I went to Anglo-Chinese Junior College.
You went to where, sorry?
Anglo-Chinese
ACJC.
Junior College. I went there for 2 years, yeah.
Uh-huh.
That was interesting.
You didn't get confused when you were there,
Yeah,
whether
well,
you're Anglo, whether you're Chinese.
I was going to say, they needed someone to make the name work, otherwise it would have been Chinese Junior College. I'm here, I'm the Anglo.
I've always wondered about that. I mean, these guys confused. They don't know whether they're Anglo or whether they're Chinese.
Yeah,
No insult to anybody from ACS or ACJC. Jeez. I tell you, I get in a lot of shit for this.
Yeah, but when I was there, I mean, there was a small section like, you shouldn't be here. There was a small section where like fan sort of boys, and the majority were just like ordinary people who were like, oh, it's cool, it's a little bit different. But I mean, because you're mixture. I mean, yes, it was majority Chinese, but there was Malay and Indian and myself.
Don't forget the Eurasians, will you, please? We do exist.
Actually, there was one there.
Oh, there you go.
There was one there. Yeah.
And the other Eurasian I knew actually was someone who is, I don't know whether we're allowed to talk about him now, but I used to play rugby, and he played rugby for SAJC, and we were friends back then.
Right.
And he helped me get involved in that party with the other coloured shirt.
Oh, all right.
And he no longer.
So are you still friends with him?
We lost track when he kind of went underground and disappeared.
Stop. This is not a political show.
It's not.
Stop. No, don't want. I don't want that. Oh boy. Okay, but Brad, I've heard you build models.
Yep.
Models, what kind of models? Miniatures, huh?
Yeah, well, at the moment I'm doing a lot of stuff of like Warhammer and all
No,
that kind
I'm
of stuff.
sorry, I could have stopped you there because when I saw this on my screen, because my crazy producer, something can go a bit nuts. He gives me some stuff here. And then when I said Brad builds models, so did you have a modeling agency where you build models, for the catwalk and say, dude, this Ang Mo is quite hot, huh? Okay. So you
I
actually
did a catwalk show last year, actually. Yeah, Honey Brown. Every year she does like a charity fashion show, and I was one of the models in a charity fashion show.
You were the
last
model,
year.
but you didn't.
Yep.
But you didn't build models.
No, not for that one. But I just did all the mincing up and down the stage. So.
Okay. Jokes aside, just get past that shit. Models. What kind of models?
Yeah.
Miniature models, you were saying. What kind of miniatures are we talking about?
Yeah, I mean, it's a mixture. There's some that are kits, and then some I scratch build. So I make them, just out of beer cans and bits of wood and plastic and whatever.
You mean
else.
from scratch? You just get stuff and you
just build it.
What have you built so far?
I mean, I've built entire miniature cities and futuristic worlds and landscapes and whatever it is you want to use for the games. I'm building a stadium at the moment for a friend for his shop for using one of the games.
Dude, you're a geek.
Yeah, I mean, I started
He's
when
a
I was like
builder, he's
about
a
12 years
builder.
old. But my film and TV
Geek.
background, I did a lot of set and lighting design in. So I was doing a lot of carpentry and painting, like giant sets back then, and a lot
Wow.
of special effects stuff. And this is like a miniature version I can do in my
Are you
house.
still doing stuff like that, special effects and all that?
No, I had,
Setups and sets and all that.
It was the last full-time company I had was a special effects company with a couple of friends. We were doing special effects around the region. We did stuff for Universal Studios, Halloween Horror Nights, we did costumes and things.
Wow.
The Ninjago shows, like
Ninjago, yeah.
in Legoland in Malaysia, and we did it in Dubai, in Nagoya. We built all the characters and all the bits and pieces for it and stuff.
Oh, wow.
So that was the last, and then I've kind of been doing my own freelance thing over the last couple of years while this political side got really serious, and I needed more bandwidth on that. So we sort of parted ways with my partners. The company's still going on.
Oh, okay, cool.
I still, we're friends and stuff. But I said, look, I've got to do this.
But you don't. But don't you miss it, man? I mean,
Oh yeah, I mean,
hell yeah, it's so fun.
and to be honest, the reason I had to give it up was I had a bit of a health crisis and an injury with the lung. And when you're in an environment with paint and chemicals and fine particles and all the other stuff, you really can't do it. And wearing masks long term, as a lot of people are finding out now, is not good for you, right? So if you have to do that for your job, with a lung issue as well. So I mean, health wise, generally I'm fine, but specifically for that, I had to give it up. So
This sounds like a collapsed lung.
it is a collapsed lung, yeah.
Wow.
Holy shit.
And it's still partially collapsed today. I just have to live with it.
Wow.
Not the most comfortable thing in the world, I have to say. I wouldn't recommend it for anyone. I just
You mentioned in your party video that your son's very creative.
Yes, yeah. I mean, he's been into music since he was about 8 or 9. He was with Kids Performing Arts. He's done local TV. There was a show, School Bell Rings. He was in a couple of seasons of that. He's done some theatre. He's done a lot of jamming all over Singapore.
He's a musician.
Yeah. I mean, his primary one is a musician. I mean, he's a drummer as his core instrument, but he plays most instruments, and most of them are self-taught. He's studying audio engineering now, so he's making music as well, which is really good stuff. But he's also an artist.
Which school is he studying in?
LaSalle.
LaSalle.
And then he's an artist. So I mean, he's doing hand drawing. He does 3D animation. He taught himself Blender, and he's making these like amazing Japanese cities, and then drawing like 2-dimensional characters and slapping them together and creating these really cool
Wow.
So
images.
did he make the policeman outside the...
Oh, man.
2-dimensional, talking about 2D characters. Don't come in.
Yeah.
Okay, so how does he feel about daddy doing what he does now?
His only challenge, well, he's got 2 challenges. Well, he's got a million challenges, but his real 2 challenges at the moment are obviously the COVID thing, which has made it really hard for him to hang with his mates. But now, of course, it's like there's a little bit of a spotlight. So it's like when you go out and hang with your mates, you make sure you don't get yourself into too much trouble. Right?
Oh, yeah.
So,
Tell me about it.
he's got that in the back of his head a little bit, which is obviously a challenge for a teenager to.
No,
try
he's
and turn
so
it
how
on.
old is he now?
18.
18, okay. Okay. And he's probably going to be looking forward to serving national service, huh?
Soon.
Yeah, well, I mean, he was always very sporty. I mean, like me, he played rugby from young. 11 years he's been playing rugby. He had to stop recently from a shoulder injury. But I mean, diving, swimming and stuff. And so, I mean, we talked about it because he was like, I don't want to waste my time. I want to do something really interesting. So his goal would be like naval diver, commando, something like that.
Wow.
He really wants to do stuff, when he does it.
Yeah.
And whether he can get in because of his torn shoulder
so
cuff, I don't know yet.
His medical classification.
We'll find that out, when he's finished
One time,
college.
when in time he'll know where his medical comes about.
Yeah.
So Harish,
Yes, sir.
how well do you know Tanjong Pagar?
How well do I know Tanjong Pagar? Maybe too well.
Wow. And why do you say that?
Well, a lot of my life was spent around that area. I grew up in Commonwealth Crescent, and that comes under Tanjong Pagar.
Right.
Yeah, we moved in 1964, before we were independent.
Okay.
So just think about
Making
how,
a point. You're making a point. You're making a
So-
point. Maybe I shouldn't have asked that stupid question.
You do know, of
It's not
course,
a-
the way they draw the boundaries,
Yeah,
that
it's-
Changi could be
Well,
under
No,
Tanjong
I
Pagar,
could have
you know.
been under Marine Parade for all I know, but it wasn't.
Shouldn't have asked that question. 1964.
Yeah.
Right.
1 year shy of independence.
Yeah.
Huh?
We
You've
were,
been
at that
around
time, we
there.
were Malaysians.
Okay.
We were from 1963 to 1965.
I
we were
am being
Malaysians.
schooled.
Did you know something else? And a little bit of factoid.
Sure.
If you were born between the time when we entered Malaysia and when we left Malaysia, that those individuals have a choice of which citizenship you want.
Really?
Yes, whether you can be a Malaysian or a Singaporean. I have a friend of mine, a good friend of mine. His brother was born in that period, and he chose to take the Malaysian citizenship.
Okay.
And my friend stays on as a Singapore citizen. That's amazing.
Did you have a choice?
I was born before that, before
Okay.
we became Malaysia.
Right.
But when mine is actually interesting because in my birth certificate it says I'm my dad was technically classified as the subject of the British blah blah blah
British
whatever,
Empire,
real-
blah, blah,
whatever.
yeah.
So in theory, because when I was born, we just became a state. So I don't know what the legal ramification of a citizen at that point was. I don't know whether there was such a thing as a citizen.
Right.
But my dad was classified as that, so technically I'll follow that. So I was at birth probably a British subject.
Subject.
Join the club.
Yeah. And then we left that club and joined Malaysia.
Right.
And by the time I was like 4 years old,
Yeah.
I'm Singaporean.
Oh, so you sold the membership there? Okay, I'm
Yeah,
only
yeah.
kidding. I'm only kidding. Right. So you made it sound as if you swapped from country club to country club.
Yeah,
You know.
but staying in the same place. Just like what we have with our
boundaries.
redrawing of the boundaries. So today,
So basically, you didn't have to choose. You
I didn't
were
have to-
automatically a
all chosen
Singaporean
for me.
citizen.
Yeah, it's all chosen for me.
Okay. Since he said that I've been around Tanjong Pagar since 1964, la di da.
Yeah, da-di-da.
Can you recommend me some of the best places to makan on there?
Oh, that's a tough call. Because there are a lot of places. It depends on your dietary.
You are playing it safe.
Yeah, no, I'm not paying safe because I have my favorites. It depends on what your cuisine preferences are.
Doesn't matter, man. I eat any damn thing.
No, we don't have damn things.
Just point
around.
me-
In
just-
Tanjong Pagar, we don't have damn things. We only have good stuff.
Okay. Stop picking on the words, will ya? Where? Just point me the right direction. Is it in Tanjong Pagar Market?
You go to ABC Brickworks. That's a good place. Okay.
You mean-
go
wait.
to Tekka Market, the hawker center there, the dum biryani. All right.
Tekka Market falls under Tanjong Pagar.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is the magic of the Sharpie. Here we go. We redraw this, and now this is part of Tanjong Pagar.
Stop. This is not a political show.
No, it's not, it's not.
Stop.
It is all about Sharpies.
Yeah.
You see, this is the first time I'm doing my show when my guests are giving me a damn hard time. It's usually the other way around, you know. But thank you so much for making it difficult for me.
You
Yeah.
earn your keep for that.
No, but I gotta tell you, no. Since I brought up the topic about food, right?
Yeah.
Tanjong Pagar. Now let me tell you, I've been there, based there for work
Okay.
for coming 19 years,
Okay.
and to me, the makan place is a bit expensive
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
That is to die for, and no place like no similar place in the
Okay.
land
Okay.
today
Okay.
can come close.
Okay.
It is this under a void deck.
Okay.
There's this Japanese restaurant, ramen restaurant, championship worthy
Okay.
ramen
It's on
restaurant.
Tanjong Pagar Road.
It is just before Craig Road.
Yeah,
I'm not going
I
to
know,
mention
I
the
know.
name of the restaurant because they're not paying me to say
I
anything.
know-
'cause
I know
don't-
exactly
no
which
free
one.
advertising though.
I know exactly which one you are. I was not going to suggest that because that's actually the boundary between Tanjong Pagar as a constituency
Okay.
and the neighbor.
Okay, hello,
But
I
it's
don't
Tanjong
care
Pagar
lah.
Road.
It's Tanjong Pagar Road lah. I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
care lah.
Okay
You know,
lah, that-
Tanjong Pagar
boleh
lah.
lah.
Yeah. You know, I mean, but just that you know
no,
that
no.
there is this fantastic
It is a
ramen.
fantastic. Yeah, I've been there many
Fantastic.
times. Yeah.
Ooh, I
Ramen
love that.
is one of my favorites.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I tell you, just thinking
But
about
you
it.
see, it's Japanese.
Yeah, okay, it's Japanese. We eat any damn
I
thing.
know,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, we- any damn
Damn-
thing.
no damn
yeah,
things
right.
here.
There's actually quite a good French restaurant on Serangoon Road. as
That's
well.
true, yeah.
Now this is where I'm going to throw a spanner in the works.
But we'll catch it.
Yeah, because you've already proven something just now. You said something, at least 3 words of it, I guess.
Oh.
So Harish, you know, okay, well, basically, doing what you're doing now.
Yeah. What am I doing now? I'm sitting
Oh
listening to
gosh, here we go. I'm not gonna do the politics thing here.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing.
What you're doing now with the walkabouts and all that, right? Okay. Do you speak Chinese?
No, I don't.
Any
I-
dialect? Chinese
No,
dialect?
Well, I didn't really need to when I was growing up from
Right.
that perspective. The only time I had to was during my national service.
Mhm.
But again, that was more, the usual stuff when everybody needs to learn another language or the first few things.
I don't know, man. I'm quite a decent guy.
Yeah,
All
I know.
right.
It's evidently evident to us. No, but
Evidently.
yeah, everything. It's double whammy there.
Talk about wordplay. Harish is a guy whose wordplay is just ace, man. This guy is ace with wordplay. So Brad,
Yeah.
do a lot of people actually mispronounce your name? At least your surname.
Yeah, the surname. I mean, of course, you've got the Bowyer block at SGH
Yeah, Bowyer
Hospital,
block.
so that helps people to remember it because there is a connection
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
So, and they always ask me, "Was that your relative?"
Yeah.
Actually, he wasn't, but unless it was
But
very
go with the
distant
flow.
and we didn't know
Go
about it.
with
But
the
it's
flow.
like, hey, yeah, look, my family's been here forever. The bread, though. I mean, when I was first at ACGS, they used to call me Mien Pao, Mr. Rotti, things like that. You know. The other one with my surname, though, and this one, I don't know if we can bring this up, is like Bowyer.
Bowyer.
Was the
Bowyer,
way they
there
would
you
say
go.
it.
Mr. Bowyer.
Mr. Bowyer. And I'm like,
So you're
excuse
like-
me, I don't land
you're the-
around all day.
You're the crocodile roti. Yeah.
yeah, kind of.
Hey, that should be an item on the prata list, you know.
Yeah.
Part of my ignorance here, man. But I just, when I had to ask where you originally came from because Brad
Yeah.
doesn't seem to be a name that is synonymous with a lot of Brits.
Brits.
No.
Yeah.
I have a how it turned out.
It's more American.
So my parents, where we lived, behind us there was a speedway track.
Right.
So my parents were extreme speedway fans,
Oh.
and all the riders, most of the best ones who rode for West
right.
Ham came from Sweden, and so they were Swedish names. And then my grandfather basically said, if you call your son after one of them, I'm going to call it It. So you better choose a different name. So then It. So rather than being called It, they were like, what? Well, the other thing they had a couple of friends who were into golf. Tony Jacklin, one of the few good English golfers at the time, had a son called Brad, so I became Brad.
Yeah,
and later
yeah.
on, he had one called Warren. My brother's name is Warren.
Warren.
So we were named after an English golfer's children. But it was back then like Soren Josten or
Soren
something
Josten,
like that,
yeah.
which was one of the top speedway riders at the time.
I just cannot fucking imagine if you were called It.
It.
It Bowyer.
Yeah, so I'd have to paint myself like white and jump out at people.
So what's wrong with this white dude, man?
It's a problem. It's a hard name. Mate.
Okay, we're gonna come down to the last bit of the show right now,
Are we already there?
Oh yeah, as a matter of fact, you see, I'm keeping good time for you, gentlemen, because I know you guys are busy.
Right.
You got
There are a
to
lot
keep
of
on
walkabouts.
tabbing on foot,
Yeah.
right? Now, just is called a quick fire round.
Alright.
Okay.
I will ask quick questions, and you give me quick
Slow-
answers.
Oh, I thought
yeah.
slow answers. Okay.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask a question, and then we're going to point to either one of you,
Okay.
and then you just give me your answer.
So we don't
Okay.
know which one.
You will know
Oh.
because I will tell you.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Alright.
So, but of course, if you're the first one to go, the second one's got more time to think. So,
Yeah.
but I know how to be fair, so don't worry about this. Okay. I'll start with Brad. Favorite band or singer?
What singer again? What singer was it?
Favorite band.
Favorite
or
band.
singer?
Favorite band
band.
or singer?
I'm really stuck on that one.
Holy shit! You're kidding me, right?
No,
your kid's a
serious.
musician.
I know, and I listen to all sorts of music, but I haven't a frigging clue who the person is.
You don't. Oh God.
I just listen to the stuff.
Tell me the song. Tell me the song.
I seriously, there's none of the is leaping to my mind. I mean, Maroon 5 we've followed a lot, so
Right.
I would say Maroon 5, Adam Levine, and
Adam
some of
Levine.
his stuff. That would be the
Okay.
probably.
Very usual you are
Yeah.
for a Brit.
Queen.
That's really strange.
Mine's Queen.
Usually the British guys who come up with some
Yeah.
crazy names that you go, who the hell are you
That
talking
was
about?
that guy, yeah.
Brad.
Yeah.
It was
No, I was
Brad.
painting toy soldiers when
It's
everyone else
Brad.
was listening to music.
So Harry.
Mine's Queen.
Ooh.
There's something about
Favorite song from
favorite
Queen?
song is Rhapsody.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
And
Okay.
it always puts me in the right mood.
It doesn't strike me to be a Mercury kind of fan, you know. Okay. Freddie fan.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. I'll start with Harish.
Yeah.
How did you meet your wife?
We met as a blind date.
Okay.
I called her up
Uh-huh.
and we agreed to meet.
Uh-huh.
And that's rest of the history, 28 years ago.
Wow. You notice how quickly there was no hesitation at all when it comes to the wife?
Yeah.
Especially, thank God for that, because when this show goes on air, he's going to go, you're in trouble, man. You hesitated, you're in trouble, man.
Let me count.
So how about you, Brad? How do you meet your missus?
We were dance partners. I got introduced, where I was working at the time. I was in the 90s. Let's say I was partying a little bit hard.
Oh.
And I had a New Year's resolution to do something better with my life. And upstairs from where I was working at the time, there was a dance studio. So I went up to, see what was going on. And the coach there said, I've got this lady, she needs a dance partner. I went, okay, I'll try out with her. We tried out and, 26 years later, we did dancing competition, all this kind of stuff.
Really?
Then we got married and had kids and a son and
Whoa, whoa, this is interesting. Competitive dancer?
Yeah, I did Latin American dancing.
No, bachata and all that.
Yeah, cha-cha, rumba, samba, all that stuff.
Wow. Wow. Brad Bowyer.
Boy, yeah.
That's why it's a
That's
biology.
how that's how he ended up meeting his wife. He just
I'll tell you what.
True to his name.
A piece of advice, because went back to the dancing was because back in the UK, when I was a teenager, before I came here, I had a friend who went dancing.
Okay.
And at the time, I was, rugby, soccer, cricket, football, cricket, all that stuff. And he said to me, Brad, you gotta come dance classes. I said, I'm not freaking gay. Why am I going to dance? Right? As a teenager, I mean, go dance.
Yeah.
I went there and I was like, whoa, eyes wide open, because you go into the dance studio, 25 girls. How many guys?
Yeah, very few.
Smart move, man.
3.
Smart
I'm
move.
like, oh. But I mean, there's other reasons for it. But when I'm a teenager, it's like, yeah, okay, I'm going to dance.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
It's the first time in their life people are chasing you rather than the other way around.
I've got 2 left feet, so I better not go for dance classes, even in my teens. No way, man. So let me ask you, Brad, what is your proudest achievement?
Proudest achievement? Actually, I feel like being here now is starting to feel like that's going to be leading towards what's going to be the biggest thing in my life. Because you do so many things in your life, and I don't sort of like tick boxes and things. I suppose immediately would be that I got my degree this month after so many years. I finally. Because when I was younger, I couldn't afford it, and later I could afford it, but I had no time. And so I just had some time over the last 2 years. So yeah, I just got my degree, and I'm like, yes, I finally.
Wow.
I've proved I've got a brain on paper.
Well, congratulations on that, man. Congratulations. What is your proudest achievement, Harish?
Way too many things. I think like what Brad said, I think doing this right now is
Compared to even Red Hat? Having even built Red Hat?
well, each I'm using all the techniques and methods that I helped with building Red Hat to do this.
Right.
Because I have 17 years of honing the skills.
You're bringing your experience to the fore.
Yeah, because we can make it happen.
Okay. It's going there now.
Let's get
I
some
can feel it
slogans in
tilting.
there, shall we?
No, we're not going to go there.
I gotta moderate this whole thing,
Yeah.
because come on, guys, don't just do me a favor, will you? Okay,
You should
Harish.
have beer, not coffee. Then
I must be, not enough coffee.
Believe me, I think I'm gonna need some bloody beer after this. Okay, what's your biggest regret in life?
Biggest regret in life? Wow. I don't think I have a big regret in life. If I want to place a category of regret, under the category of regret, the only regret I have is it not being able to join the Air Force. I wanted to be
Fighter pilot. Let me guess.
No. I want to be I want to be an astronaut. That's what I want to go to the moon. That's my lifetime goal. I want to be the first Singaporean on the moon.
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk.
Are you listening?
Yeah.
Right.
I want to be the first Singaporean on the moon. That's what I wanted, because when 1969 I saw on this my black and white TV at home.
What makes you think that wasn't faked?
I know it couldn't be faked. Yes, I have done all the math, physics. I understand.
I
all
want to know
this.
when it was landing, who was filming it.
Yeah, who was filming? Yeah, exactly. They were already there filming it, right?
I'm sorry, man. I just need to bust your bubble for a little bit.
No. It was totally fake.
The moon landing was fake.
Just like this podcast.
Oh, I definitely don't exist, and Chris is not my real name.
There you go.
Here we go. Okay. Now, okay, so okay, going to the moon, huh?
Yeah, that's really that's still that's the thing I wanted. But my regret is that when I had to enlist for NS, I went through the medical for getting to become a pilot.
Right.
But you're under 18, right? You're not legal. So
Yeah.
we need parents' consent, and my dad said no.
Oh wow.
I mean, he had his reasons for it, and it's not a regret. If I have to that's why I say, if I have to put something under the category of regret, that'll be what I regret. But it was a decision my parents made, and I go with it. But I would have loved.
I hear you, man. I hear you,
Yeah.
man. I think all of us have got this little bit of thing, huh?
Yeah, I
Like
would love
even
it.
me, I have some of mine as well.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the reason why at this age, at 50 years old, I'm sitting behind a microphone and doing podcasts. But I could, because it's something I've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I should have done it like a long time ago. Got on radio or something,
Yeah.
but I didn't. But anyway, I'm just living a bit of the dream, by doing what I'm doing. Anyway, Brad, what is your biggest regret in life?
It's hard to nail it down, but I close it in on two things. There's one, there are some people in my life that I maybe was not appropriate with in different ways at different times. You look back and you go, I wish I hadn't said that, I wish I hadn't done that, I might have hurt someone. So I mean, I've got some of those and those are things you carry with you. You can't really go back and say sorry like 30 years later, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you do, they might just whack you, or they don't want to remember. So because you got to do it because they want it, not because you want to offload your guilt, kind of stuff, or whatever. So there's some of that stuff.
Yeah.
But I suppose the biggest thing for me is that, I mean, when I went back to the UK briefly after doing ACJC, was I wanted to be a commander. My uncle was a commander. I was doing that, and I had some injuries. My knees both shattered, and in recovery wasn't going to be fit enough to carry on with that, because if that hadn't happened, that would have been my career, and I would have never come back to Singapore. So in a way, it was a positive thing, but back then it was like that was my whole dream. That's what I was going to be. That was going to do my whole life. I was going to be a commander, and then it was cut short after like 19, 20 months or something like that. Just under 2 years.
Wow. Wow. British commandos, man. Hell of a history, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, they're under the Air Force.
Yeah, the British commandos.
Special boat service is
special
drawn
boat
from the
service,
Marines.
What is your biggest fear, Harish?
My biggest fear. Wow. My biggest fear. I'm a very positive person, so my biggest fear is not being being there for people. I think in many ways, I always. My wife and I, we have sometimes discussions, and I'm always the positive one, and she says she's always the negative one. But we balance it out, right? But so to me, I look at glass half full.
Yeah.
Right? I've always liked that. That's all. So, what's my fear? Maybe empty glass. I don't know, but I don't think I would. I don't think I have a category. I mean, again, it's an empty category. What is my fear there? I don't think I have one.
Not even a phobia, huh?
Phobia.
Some people are,
arachnophobia. I
arachnophobia.
thought I had what do you call this? When you're in closed area, what do you call it?
Claustrophobia.
Claustrophobia. I thought I had it, but during my NS, in full-time service, when we were in OCS, we had to go through the FIBO, fighting in built-up areas. So we have one area where we had to go through this underground tunnel to go from building to building, and so everybody goes into the underground tunnel, and it's essentially only as wide as your shoulders are.
Right.
And so the guy in front of me, he was much bigger than me, and his shoulders were much wider, sort of like yours. So he was completely blocking everything out. So it's total darkness in there, and I'm behind him, and we are crawling underneath that. For a moment, I thought I was going to be having an attack.
Couldn't breathe, huh?
But so I was focusing on his butt is in front of me. I better keep moving, keep moving up. So we had to clear the entire thing, right? And it's muddy and all that. Uniform and your rifle and everything is all messy.
Yeah.
But after I went through that, actually that was not too bad. initially I was.
So you didn't have claustrophobia anyway.
No, I thought I had because
Ah.
I never was put in a situation. So I
Right.
thought I had, and I went through that. Actually, that's okay. I can do this.
Yeah.
I can do this. But there was, I must say that I did feel one maybe about 10, 15 years ago. It was not claustrophobia, but it was more to do with, it was in Bukit Timah Hill. I was doing my hash runs.
Uh-huh.
So it was very dark already. And also one part, and I couldn't hear the runners in front of me.
Okay.
And total darkness. I didn't have my light with me. And now I'm on the slope of Bukit Timah Hill. And I have to find my way gingerly back down the slope, back down to the run site. Yeah, for that, there was a bit of a
little
a
trepidation.
bit of trepidation.
Yeah.
Okay, this is, and then there was a bit muddy on one side, and my feet were sinking in. I had to pull it out. Okay, never mind. Slowly. Eventually, I did get back. It took me an hour and a half to get out of it, but I know I'll get out because I kind of anticipated. But yeah, that was a bit of the.
I can imagine, man. It can get quite dark up there.
Oh, total darkness.
Yeah.
I can't see in front of me.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
A moonless night.
Yeah, it was a moonless night on top of that. Exactly.
I thought so.
Exactly.
How about you, Brad? What's your biggest fear?
You have all sorts of different fears. For me, obviously, I don't know if I'm going to reveal this. I've been in one or two, shall we say, altercations in my life.
Okay.
And when you get involved in those, there's a certain tenseness and feeling inside you. Of course, into the moment you get over it and you deal with it. You do things like assault courses and you're really high up and you've got no safety nets and all this kind of stuff. So you have fears, but you kind of overcome them. But the biggest fear, and it's actually one that I'm feeling at the moment, is can I measure up? Because I'm looking at the people around me, the people who are in my team even, and some of the stuff they're doing. And also the fact the feedback I'm getting, and I'm thinking, shit, I'm going to be responsible for 30,000 people's lives, 147,000 people's lives. That's a massive responsibility, right?
I agree.
And that's what's keeping me. I've hardly slept in the last, since I knew I was going to stand. So, for almost a month now, I'm getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm not sleeping till 2. I'm just in the middle of the night, I'll wake up. And so, it's just that when you've got massive responsibility, that's I guess the fear of living up to responsibility. If I had to narrow it down, that would be the statement. My fear is that I can't live up to the responsibility that I'm being given, or being given the honour of doing.
There's a term called "fake it until you make it," right?
Yeah, but this one isn't a game.
I know, it's not a game.
You can't fake this one.
You can't fake this.
You better not fake this
You
one.
can't fake it. Yes, exactly.
Excuse me. The producers, we gotta cut out that cough of mine, just clearing my throat. Okay, Brad, I think after this past hour or so of having this chat with you guys, I think it's so safe to assume, because you've said this a couple of times, favorite sport, rugby.
There you go.
See? You mean, okay, rugby's a favorite sport. How about football? EPL.
My team is West Ham. And having a team like West Ham, you can't be too passionate about it. You have to roll with the punches.
But West Ham did a good job against Chelsea.
Well, the thing about our team is we're not rich,
wrong. City,
right?
was it City? Chelsea.
They go up and down. The thing about West Ham is they're not a rich team. So because if you look like England teams over the years, and a lot of the top EPL clubs have ex-West Ham players in there, because we build the team up, we win the league, we win cups, so we get near the top. Then we have to sell them all off to keep the club going, and we start again.
Yeah.
So it's just like a roller coaster ride, right?
Actually, it's quite,
And,
it's quite the same for most clubs, actually.
Yeah.
For most of the middle of the table clubs, and the bottom clubs as well.
Yeah.
Okay, West Ham, all right. How about you, Harish? What's your favorite sport?
Well, I've always been squash has always been my favorite sport.
Okay.
When I was in school, it's like, this is a fascinating game. But nowadays you can't find squash courts.
Really?
It's so hard to find it. You only find it at NUS, Guildhouse.
No shit.
Some
Really?
random places. Yeah. No more. There are very few. There is, but it's very few.
In condos, perhaps.
Even there's older condos, not the new ones.
Yeah.
None of this.
Oh,
but
wow.
but my really the last 25, 30 years has basically with my hash group. It's a drinking club with a running problem.
Basically, you're running to get the beer. Where's the beer? Where's the beer?
It's a drinking club with a running problem.
That's exactly who we are.
I gotta admit, man, you're saying a lot of things I've never heard before
There
today.
you go. At least you learn something new
It's
today.
drinking club for
Actually,
running.
my dad used to play squash with Frank Lampard.
Jeez.
Oh, is that
Oh,
right?
really?
Oh,
Yeah, back in the
wow.
UK. And when we
Oh.
came here in the 80s, he used to play squash.
Yeah,
he got
but
me
that
into
poor
it a few
guy.
times, and I had these massive bruises when the ball hits you.
Well,
And I'm like, yeah, this is
that
not
has
my
never
game.
happened to me. I mean,
But
that's
that poor guy, Frank Lampard, if only he knew, because an Englishman, he doesn't know that his surname is quite a bad word.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So, anyway, do you watch English football?
Well, my team is the only team that matters.
Which is?
It should be obvious, isn't it?
No?
Obviously, you have the wrong team. Liverpool.
That's why it wasn't obvious. All I can
In
say
the
is
19
glory,
never-
glory, Man
you
United.
Never,
Thank
you
you.
never walk alone.
No, in the 1970s.
Glory,
Yeah.
glory, Man
Yeah.
United.
Yeah.
Glory,
you
glory.
never walk alone.
Sorry, I'm a Man United man. Yes.
I know you're the host, so we let
Yeah,
you,
Scousers.
we let
yeah,
you pass.
yeah. Darn
We
Scousers.
forgive you.
Okay, I got two more final questions. The next one's going to be something that's going to surprise you.
Oh,
I'm going to go with Brad first.
all right.
Okay.
Ready?
Ready.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to ask this question. Yeah, I'm going to point here, Then you guys give me answers. Quick one, yeah? Okay?
Okay.
Taman or Heng Swee Keat for PM?
Tarman.
Carmen.
Wow. Moving along.
As the analysis has said.
That's as far as I would bring politics into this show. Okay. Now, this is the last question. Now, check this out, okay? Just think about it. I'm going to just read this out, okay?
Okay.
You get home after a long, stressful day.
Right.
You reach for the fridge
Right.
for your beverage of choice.
Yeah.
What would that beverage be?
Baron Strong Brew.
Baron Strong Brew? Be honest.
I'm going to be very, very boring by that.
Be honest.
Okay, I'm very honest. My favorite has always been Horlicks. Really, you know why?
Cup of milky tea and a biscuit before
No,
you
no
sleep.
milky tea. No, it's because there is a certain mix that I make
Yeah, okay.
it hits home for me.
Okay, what do you put in
I
your
have
Horlicks?
coffee, Horlicks,
You're shitting me.
and Ovaltine.
All in
Milo.
one.
All in one. You should try that.
So
I
it's
call
like-
it that flavor. That's what I call it.
I call it constipation in the making.
It is fantastic. It hits the spot for me, and I'm
Oh, you hit the spot, all right. Yeah, you hit a spot where nothing is just gonna pass through. You know where I'm coming from? That is like freaking constipation, dude. There's a mix.
If you know how to make it.
There's a mix that's ripe to constipate someone. Jeez. Okay,
Then
now
after that,
I'll make a Milo dinosaur.
there's some more.
healthy.
There's some more. And then after that,
well, that's some home brews, right?
okay, home brews.
Yeah.
No, that one clears the constipation.
That's right.
Right. But after you've done your drinks, you're going to pick your choice beverage or prepared your constipation mix.
Yeah.
You switch. After that, would you switch on the TV or put on music?
I don't actually
No
watch the
TV.
TV much, even though I've
Yeah.
worked in it for so much of my life.
Yeah, hardly the TV is on, but I don't know what's
You mean
on.
you guys don't even Netflix?
If there is time, yeah.
I tend to watch stuff on YouTube more than
Yeah.
anything else these days.
The thing is, the TV is still my laptop, so in many ways I
Oh,
can watch
gosh.
the Netflix on my laptop. So
Okay, so it's so you do watch something visually on the screen, or you listen
Oh,
to
yeah.
music.
Yeah, of course. Or
Probably a
podcasts.
mixture of both.
Yeah.
A mixture of both.
Okay, if let's
Depending
talk
on
about
the
music.
mood on that day, if there's something I'm particularly looking for.
Yeah.
Let's talk about music then. So if let's say you were to put on a song,
Mm.
what would that go-to song be for each of you, respectively?
It's more like a genre. I mean, I
Yeah.
tend to, especially if it's at night or whatever, it may even be some light classical stuff.
Like classical.
Or it might be some sort of like Zen-y, spa-y type, sort of like
Sorry, what was that?
kind of music, just to let my brain go somewhere else and calm
Relaxation
down.
mood
Yeah,
music,
kind of,
you
kind
mean?
of.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
right.
like I'm in a giant elevator, basically.
I tend to it depends on what I need to do. Like so
Uh-huh.
if I know I need to write stuff, I need to write code, or I need to fix bugs in code, or whatever it might be. It's most of the time is radioparadise.com.
Okay.
And I stream that on, and there's an eclectic mix in that.
Yep.
That's
Eclectic mix.
that's good enough for me. And it's at the background, it just plays, and good enough. That's good enough for me.
Okay, gentlemen. Again, thank you so very much for being on Kopi with Chris as my Kopi Kakis. You've been watching and listening to Brad Bowyer and Harish Pillay. They have been my Kopi Kakis today on Kopi with Chris. All I want to tell you, this is going to be a very, very important week for this country, for this nation. And no, this is not a political broadcast. This is just a bunch of guys sitting down having coffee and having a chit-chat. Yeah? All I want to say is to all my fellow Singaporeans, remember during this general elections, don't fight, okay?
Yeah.
Be nice, okay? At the end of the day, we're all still citizens and we're still Singaporeans and we're still all neighbors.
We the citizens.
But whatever you do stay safe at the polls. This has been Chris Henson. Thank you for spending time with us today at KWC Kopi with Chris. Remember to share, like, and subscribe. Until next time. Catch you guys at the next episode. Bye-bye.